Hello, fellow keyboard nerds. I'm Ryan Norbauer. If any of you know me, it's probably because of my weakness for making unnecessarily fussy keyboard housings. In keyboard years, I am terribly old. I grew up around the dawn of the personal computer, first learning to program in elementary school on an Apple IIe, subsequently moving to an IBM with its buckling spring, my board of choice for years. Keyboards have always held a fascination for me as optimistic symbols of the future, the hope for technological progress and a globally interconnected world. But it wasn't until 2013 when I discovered a site called Geek Hack that a minor enthusiasm would become a life-consuming obsession. I'll spare you the details, but suffice it to say, keyboards occupy a lot of my thoughts these days. Earlier this week, in fact, I had just arrived back here in Silicon Valley from Geek Hack's KeyCon, all the way out in Pittsburgh, feeling pretty blissful, which is often my experience after meetups. For one thing, I was astonished to meet quite a few people who had brought keyboards to show off that I had made, and many others who had gone out of their way just to come over and say hello and chat. I'd been talking with a lot of friends lately, in fact, saying how fortunate I feel to have been part of a community of such generous and kind people for so many years. This community has led to some of my fondest friendships and has become a huge part of my life. I care about what happens to it. So it was in the midst of all this sentimental reverie this week that the news arrived to me that GeekHack was apparently up on the auction block. I had always naively assumed that the site was somehow under the custodianship of a community-spirited group of moderators and that nobody really owned it. To me, GeekHack isn't the keys to the server that the forum runs on. It's the sum total interactions of the awesome people who have made it what it has been for so long. It never occurred to me that it could be commodified, bundled up, and sold to the highest bidder in short order. That I was wrong about this implies that all this time we weren't actually building a community for each other like many of us thought we were. We were creating a sellable asset for somebody else, of whom I had honestly never previously heard. Who the high bidder in that transaction was, excellent or evil, is immaterial. It just feels somehow wrong to me. I obviously don't object to commerce in our community, but I don't think any one person or company should be able to claim to own the community, and certainly not to control it. As far as I'm concerned, we, the people of GeekHack, who have built its content, its traffic, and its culture over these many years, are its true owners, regardless of how much cash changed hands for those worthless server keys. I think it's time for us to rally together, somewhere else. Somewhere where this can never happen again. So I've been working diligently this week with two of the most community-spirited keyboard nerds I know, trying to put together a new home for the keyboard community online. One that, in addition to being built on top of a much better tech platform, will actually be owned by the community itself. We're calling it Keebtalk.com. And we're moving swiftly to establish it as a proper nonprofit, with a board of trustees explicitly charged with serving the community. It will never be for sale at any price, and we do have explicit plans for funding it with the help of large community vendors, without having to make any unpalatable concessions to advertising. We didn't start this project because we're looking for control or prestige. We did it because we want to help establish an uncompromised and better home for this community we love. I'm going to be moving my own projects and conversations over to Keebtalk in the coming days, and I hope you'll think about doing the same. If nothing else, I think we should send a message that the hearts and minds of people in a community can't be purchased with cash, and that if anything, such a strategy is prone to ironic backfire. So we need your help. Please go to keeptalk.com and get some conversations going, so we can start the task of teaching and bringing new people into the keyboard community. For all this furor, this hobby has never seen better days, and I can't wait to see where we'll all be able to take it as we explore this project together.